Hey guys, we're back with another episode for you. We have a very fun guest. I'm super excited. Friend, comedian, writer, just person extraordinaire, Amamah Sardar. Amamah, how are you?
I'm good. I am currently in one apartment. I just moved to another one. So I'm living in what you just said, a state of chaos, but it's really, really fun. After this, I'm going to get drunk because I need it.
We
Perfect.
definitely
We'll probably
sponsor that.
also, yeah.
I thought you were gonna say that the special guest was me because I'm actually here in person this time, but no,
No. The
okay.
special guest is, you can be a special guest also.
I'll be
So,
a feature. That's
yeah,
okay.
you're a
Feature,
feature. Very nice.
co-feature.
Um, yeah, a co-feature. Yeah, I have with Quin in my home today, because we're gonna be at the Funny Bone together in a couple of days.
Oh, I'm
So,
house guesting
Oh,
it.
nice.
yes.
Shoes off, all up in Katie's house.
Shoes off, TV on.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Cheese everywhere.
Cheese, so much cheese. There's a
That's
lot of
amazing.
cheese.
Katie
Yeah.
eats an inordinate amount of cheese.
I didn't think that I ate that much cheese, mama, and, my boyfriend said to me one, like, Sunday night, he was like, "Oh my god, we have, like, no cheese in this house," and he's like, "I don't think we've ever had no cheese in our house," and I was like, "God, you're right, that is crazy," and then, like, 2 days later, Quinn was like, "I've never met someone who has so much cheese in their house," and I was like, "Oh
First
god, is
off,
that a
no
real
cheese.
thing?"
No cheese is a white emergency. I think there's some number you can
No
dial for
cheese
that.
is a white emergency. Absolutely.
White people are like,
How many
is
cheese
the
do you
cheese
have?
okay?
Like, all the cheeses. Like, I always just if I go to the store, I'm like, "Well, I'll just need sliced cheese for something, a brick of cheese for something, a creamy
Mhm.
cheese, and a
Wait, I'm not
Parmesan
in a
cheese."
dairy in over a year now, and I miss cheese. I think,
Good for you.
yeah, I don't know.
Are you
I tried to do it. I tried to be vegan. It didn't
I'm
work.
not vegan. I would not say that I'm vegan, but I did like the no dairy was like so my skin would clear up. But as you can see,
Mm.
mm.
I got a zit after the stressful move, so maybe I should just eat dairy.
Well,
Well, I have to say, I went to the dermatologist, like, 5 years ago, and I was like, "My skin is still breaking out, like, when is this gonna end?" Like, I thought that this was gonna be, like, a thing that I would not have to worry about after, like, I don't know, I thought maybe once you hit, like, 27, you didn't have to get pimples anymore, and the doctor was like, "You're gonna have to stop eating dairy, and you're really gonna cut back your sugar," and I was literally like, "Oh, that's just too bad there's nothing we can do."
I've tried nothing and I'm
I
all
don't
out of
yeah, I'm all out of
ideas.
ideas. I was like, "It's fine. I'll just have pimples. I don't care."
Honestly, though,
Mm.
it is like one of those things where like now I'm like on like some like acne meds, and I'm just like, all right, they're working, and I do want to enjoy my life, but doctors are always like, no drinking, and it's like I need a glass of wine.
What
Yeah.
if you ate cheese like the way you drink? Like, could you eat cheese socially? Like, just not at home alone?
Yeah.
Katie
You just
does. She just
you
brings
can't have it in
glass
your house.
of
Eat
Yeah.
cheese at parties?
I just I tried to be a vegan. I was a vegetarian for, like, 8 or 9 years, and that was pretty easy, like, that was relatively easy for me, but because I also was just I kinda stopped eating meat because it was just bothering like, it was just grossing me out and it made me feel bad, and, it was pretty
It
like,
does that.
mentally, it was easy for me to just be like, "Bleh, I don't want it." But I tried to be vegan, and I think I lasted, like, 38 minutes. Like, I was like, "I cannot." And I was a vegetarian where I just wouldn't even eat gelatin,
Mm.
but cheese, I would just, like, I could cut gelatin out, and jelly candies are, like, my
Yeah.
favorite
Oh, you mean like
candies.
gummies? Yeah,
Gummies, like, and I
that's
tried to be
tough.
vegan, and I made it, like, 4 minutes, and then I was like, I just what how am I gonna live without macaroni and cheese?" Like, I'll die.
I made it like 4 months, so I'm proud of myself. I
You
did it
did
for
do
like
a
4
pretty
Four
good
months.
months
job.
is a long
It's
time.
a long time to not have meat,
No,
and
Yeah.
it was
I
go
like
ahead.
Brooklyn has so many guys who are like vegan-ish.
Mhm.
And I like was going out with there's so many dudes this year that I've like gone out with or last year. It's only
You've had a busy month.
yeah, it's been a
Busy
huge
month and a
month.
half.
Last year there's so many guys that I was just like, why is everyone a vegan? But I did find some tasty places. But I would that's not for me. I need when I get drunk, I like need like a like wings and I don't know, meat.
Mm.
Yeah, I think it's just
Giving up chicken
hard.
as a black man was very difficult for me. I have to
Wow,
say.
that's
I'm
tough.
used to eating chicken. I grew up eating chicken at least twice a week. So
When I was younger, I tried to be vegetarian, and my mom was like, I was like, like no meat, and she was like, okay, so I'll just make you chicken then.
the dirty bird.
Okay, I guess.
Yeah, that's my dad would be the same thing. He'd be like, "You just eat fish. Eat this fish soup." And I'm like, "No, it's like the animal thing." And he's like, "Yeah, fish. Just eat it."
Like it's not an animal.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel stuff.
Yeah. Like, okay. Ugh, but yeah, so now I don't know, I just don't think I could give up the cheese. The meat, I do feel like pretty frequently I'll be like, "Ugh, I think I'm feeling the feelings again," and I feel like I could go back to not eating it,
I could
but
too.
cheese, I just don't know. I would die.
I think the hardest thing for me was trying to do like no carbs for like keto
Oh,
because I love bread. I fucking love
Yeah,
bread. I can give up cheese. I can give up meat. I cannot give up carbs. I just
yeah,
can't.
it's that sugar.
Mm,
'Cause I'll eat a meal that is very good and filling, but if it doesn't have carbs in it, I feel like I haven't eaten. Like, I'm like, "Ah, I need my finisher.
yeah.
I need
Because
my
like
bread finisher."
even being vegan, there's so many carbs you can't eat. And it's like
really?
this is just sucks.
Oh, 'cause they have eggs in them?
Because they have eggs in them, because it's like other stuff, and it's like I can't even enjoy this.
Yeah, I don't know. I never even I made it, like, literally an afternoon, and
Mhm.
then I was like, "Oh, forget it. I'll just stick to vegetarian."
It's like no wonder people lose a bunch of weight. I did lose weight. I couldn't eat shit. So I'm like, well, yeah,
I
I can
know
just diet and on my own.
Yeah, I know some people, hot take, I know some people that had, eating issues, either disordered eating or straight up eating disorders, and they now are vegan, and I feel like that's kind of a way to
To
get
hide
around.
it,
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
like, you're because you're like, "Oh, no, no, I just eat whatever
I
I
have a gluten
want."
allergy and
Yeah,
I'm vegan,
yeah,
so I won't be eating it all at your house.
yeah, and
And
I'm
there's
like
nothing wrong with that.
exactly, I'm like, "Okay, I mean,
That's
whatever."
a hot take, Katie. I don't know if I can go down that path with you.
I know. I'm
But
just saying what I've seen is the slope to, people who
Anorexia?
yes, yes, that
Yeah.
then are like, "Oh, no, no, now I do eat, but it's only, like, juices." You know what I mean? Like
Oh,
that's
yeah.
so
celery
weird.
and
I don't know. I
That's
feel like life needs to be enjoyed. We have like what 5 good years left before
Yeah,
anything
exactly.
ruins us.
this
Like, I am
snowless
done with
winter.
drinking and smoking and eating and having just too much sex. But it's 5 years, guys. 5 years.
I agree with that. Like
Yes.
eating and having so much sex that I'm like increasing my carbon footprint. Like that's how much I want to do it. Yeah.
Yes, you're like, "Just blow it up."
My friend is actually going to be amazing right now because I was like, I think this laptop's going to die, and she was like, I have a charger for you. I'm a block away. I'll come
Oh,
right now.
a real angel. If
I
we have to
really can't
pause, we
relax. I
can
got to move
pause.
home.
Brooklyn is a community, man.
Yeah.
It really, Crown
Community.
Heights is a community for
It is
sure.
a community. And it's so slowly gentrifying. Like we're keeping it out like
You know what I hate?
slowly.
You know what place I will not go to ever? And Katie, if you ever visit, I will not take you here. It's a bagel pub on Franklin.
What's wrong with Babel Pub? I don't go, but what's wrong with
Sorry,
Babel
are you
Pub?
Uh-oh.
complaining about gentrifying and we're supporting bagel pub? The line out the door is always just, it's a line of white people always. And
It's
I'm like,
true.
there are
It's
some
true.
other places to eat, the whites of Crown Heights.
Well, white people like bagels. Like for some reason, that's their jam. They like bread with holes in it, so they are all about the bagels.
Well,
But
bagels are good.
bagels are good, and it's so funny because like I know every time I'm over here, what
We have
happens?
bagels,
Katie goes
yeah.
get bagels in the morning. Bagels are great, but there's also a lot of bagel places across Eastern Parkway in the Jewish community. They have the best bagels.
Oh, they have the
Yeah.
best bagels, absolutely.
I
And
mean, they look at me like Godzilla when I cross over there, but I'm like, I'm just here for your delicatessen, and then I'm leaving.
I'll be right
I'm
out.
giving you money, and then I'm leaving. Leave me alone. Don't mess with
I'm
me.
your best kind of visitor.
Yeah, I'm paying and leaving. I don't want to stay.
We okay. We I saw a story on Reddit, and then this is also inspired by true life events, because I have a friend who is getting married or she now she's gotten married. But the process of that has involved like various levels of like planning events and kind of that stuff. And we also like this is like the age where some people are having their first marriage and some people are having their second marriage. And so it's made me start thinking about just like weddings in general and bridesmaids and just like what is required of people now. And because I do feel like when we were all getting married, like between 25 and 30,
Mm.
you are, whether you want to do it or not, you're like more willing to blow so much time and money to be
Yeah.
in someone's wedding. And now that like fast forward 10 years, now the people that are getting married, the bridesmaids are like setting boundaries and like we would not set
Like,
in
we
the
did this
past.
before.
Yeah, or you're just like, actually, like people will be like, is $800 like good for this weekend? And people are like, actually, no. And like that would never happen.
First of all, the economy is so bad. Eggs are like $800. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
I can't be here trying to like. Also, all of my friends, at least it's like a New York thing. No one is gonna get married until like 40,
Yeah,
and then
At
what
exactly.
they
least.
do is like
Yeah.
And
at
they're
the
all
city hall.
they're gonna be city hall or destination weddings that you're not invited to. But the economy is not somewhere you're right, eggs are about the cost of what? A cup of coffee now. That's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
That's
Yeah.
insane.
So it's
Yeah,
like, no, I'm not doing that. I would never the way I feel now, like the first time you get married, sure, I'm
first
there.
time.
The second this if you get married
No
again,
faith in anyone's. The first
I don't think
time you ever
anybody needs to
married.
be there.
We were like planning my friend's like wedding and
You get one.
it's her first wedding and I was like, we have to, like my friends were like, well, what should we do? And I'm like, we have to make it special. This only happens once or twice in your life.
3 times, 4 tops.
Well,
So
my
it needs
goal.
to be special.
There's an interview with Jane Fonda, and she was like, "My favorite ex-husband." And
Yes.
that's my goal. That is my goal. And be like, you know what? My favorite ex-husband, the second one.
The gay one.
She's a
Yeah.
real American hero. Yeah.
That'll be everyone's favorite ex-husband.
Of
The gay
course.
one.
Yeah, that's the best, probably the best husband in some ways. But, I just wanted to I did find, like, a crazy thing on Reddit, and then I was like, "I'm just gonna throw this out to the Instagram followers to see if anyone has any, like, active, like, bridesmaid situations," and, just like general funny stories. And somebody wrote to me, I was just like, what's your like messiest bridesmaid story? And someone just wrote, I'm the maid of honor in a wedding like next week and I don't even like the person anymore. And I was like,
Is
okay.
it because they're being such an asshole? Like, it's
Yes, yes. And so the
um,
person who sent me the message, um, wrote, like, paragraphs of just this bride asking basically for stuff. So I sort of, like, condensed it for you guys. I just want I condensed it to a highlight reel.
I wanna say that I totally believe that because I think that as you get older, when you have, like, those friendships from, like, when you're, like, in your, like, late teens or, like, early 20s, when you get to be, like, 30 plus, I do think there's maybe only 1 or 2 friends that make it,
yeah,
Yes.
and then there's so many people who are, like, still close because 'cause you've known them for a long time,
Yes.
but you kinda hate them now.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
I
I can
think so.
totally see how somebody
Yeah.
would, like, expect you to be involved in their wedding. You're like, "But
You're like, "Do
we
I,
ain't really been vibing the
Yeah.
last, like, 8, 9
Yeah.
years."
I This is a true story. I had a friend who was my very, very close friend in, like, 6th grade, and then, like, we stayed tight for, like from, like, 6th to ninth grade-ish, and, like, we were very, very tight in that time period. But then, like, high school, not as close, and then college and on, just didn't speak, and not in, like, a bad way, but just, like, didn't see each other, didn't talk, like, I didn't have her phone number, like, we just literally did not talk for years, and she was friends with, like, my friend group still, but, like, we didn't live in the same city, we just, like, literally didn't talk anymore. I found out from my friends, not her, because we don't communicate, was that she was mad that she didn't get invited to my wedding, and I was like, "How would I send an invitation?" Like,
Yeah.
I'm not inviting people that I literally would have to, like, hire a detective to get in touch with. So
Also, like, to not be invited to a wedding is a blessing. Like, let me
I
save
Thank you.
money.
Like, you wanna show up and spend money on somebody you don't even really know
exactly,
anymore?
it was just so funny. I
Like,
was
she's
like, "Oh."
lonely. She is lonely and sad. And it's like, Katie's wedding's gonna be the event of the year. You know, like, it's just like one of those things where I'm like, I have to go to a wedding in May for a good friend. But the night before, I had Blink 182 tickets, and now I'm like, I guess she is a good friend, and I love her. And I have to,
You have to, like, keep like, saying it, and, like,
Mhm.
it's your new
like,
mantra is you're like, "I
elope.
do love her. She
Yeah,
is a good
exactly.
friend. I do love her."
But I think the original plan, I remember she was like, maybe I'll elope, and now I'm like, maybe you should have, because I would
Yeah.
have.
So that's what this person wrote in that, and I think this is happening for a lot of people. The wedding, so this person is the sister of the groom, and then in the process of their relationship became best friends with his wife, like his fiance slash wife. So she's the maid of honor because she's also related to the groom, and now she's best friends with the bride.
Mm.
And they were supposed to get married in a destination wedding in like March of 2020. So obviously that didn't happen and it got postponed. So over the course of those 2 years, the wedding plan has, like, kept getting postponed and changed and this and that, and in the meantime, the maid of honor has gotten married herself and is pregnant. And so, like, a completely different life scenario than, like,
Before, yeah.
2020. But and then also last year in the spring, the couple legally got married and had like a huge dinner with both family, like both parents and this and that. And they had like a wedding celebration. But then they still want to do their destination wedding.
Oh, no.
So
Nope.
wait, it gets crazier. The bride asked both sets of parents and the sister to come to the destination to scout venues for the wedding. So they want them to use one vacation to just look for their wedding venue. Yes, I was like, this is not even the half of it. And then they were like, the maid of honor was like, I'm like closing on a house in a month. Like, I just don't have money to go on this vacation, like for your planning purposes. And then they basically were like, we'll pay for it. And she was like, no, that's okay. So she just went already to the destination to just look at venues with them. And then the maid of honor became, like, pregnant, which she had said she was gonna do, like, with much notice, which it's so funny now, like, as I get older, I'm just like, imagine planning your life around someone else's life, like, I hope my baby doesn't inconvenience you for your wedding. And so now she's, like, very pregnant, and the bride was like they're already married, and the bride is like, "Well, I wanna do, like, a bachelorette away." And, the maid of honor was like,
Look at
"I
Mama's
can't." Yeah,
face.
I know. Mama's
As a
like,
New Yorker, I can see the cash register
"Me too." It's just like,
in her head,
"Cha-ching,
like,
cha-ching, cha-ching." So
Also,
then she's
it's
like
like, okay, look, marriage is cool and all, but it's like, bro, like, congratulations, but I'm not going to spend my entire life savings to like make you happy. It's so weird.
it's very weird to me. Like, I think people forget that your wedding is not everybody else's special day.
Yeah.
you know what I say? Are the white people okay? Are they okay?
But I was like, "What a good," like, so she already went to the venue scout, and then she was like, "I can't go away on a bachelorette party because I will have a 3-week-old newborn." And, so
She was like,
they
bring the baby.
yeah, so then they're, like, mad that she couldn't do that, so then they were like, "Fine, we're gonna have a wedding shower," and the wedding shower had 80 people and a DJ, and then, she said that she ended up, like, booking the DJ and ordering invitations for this shower for them while she was 38 weeks pregnant and on bed rest. Like, in what? I was just like, "What a nice person."
I would be
Oh,
prepared to end my friendship with this person.
I would have been like, for the wedding shower, I would have been like, that's your wedding, bitch. You don't get it.
Exactly.
Who has a wait? Do people have wedding showers? That's a thing.
So,
Bridal showers are a
bridal
thing.
showers
This is too much. Look, I think people just need to like go to City Hall. How many parties can one person have? That's
That's
not okay.
it's so much. But and then now they want to also still do the destination wedding. At this point, they will have been married for, like, almost a year.
Imagine being so cracked out that you got out of having to plan and have a wedding, and you still choose to spend the excess money on the wedding that you could be spending on your honeymoon
Yeah.
away from your relatives.
Like, I know someone who spent like the weddings I went to last year, some that I was just like, this is too much. Like, you guys have like a not like a dessert table, but like a dessert like gala. If,
Yeah.
and it's just like it's thousands of dollars that I can spend on drugs, alcohol.
Cheese, just think of how much cheese you could buy.
So much cheese. All the
And bar
cheese.
All the cheese.
they bring to the bar, you know.
I just can't, but it gets this is okay, I don't know why this was the most annoying fact for me. So the bride well, actually, there's so much, but one of them was they have bridesmaid dresses, and they have to be 9 inches from the
Oh no, you
floor.
cut out. I can't hear
And they
you.
needed to all get them hemmed at the same place. Like, in what world do adult women all have the same schedule to go get
You cut out. What did you say?
the dresses have to be a very specific length from the floor, like, they have to be 9 inches from the floor. And
Why?
then I don't know. And she said that they wanted to get them all altered, at the same place, and she said, "We were told we all have to have our dresses hemmed to 9 inches from the floor, and we continued to get calls from my brother until we made alteration appointments because he wanted it done at the same time as everybody else." Isn't
What?
that crazy? And then
Okay.
she said
This
she
is
she insisted my daughter be a flower girl at 11 weeks old, but said we can't use an umbrella or anything to stay out of the sun. But she's also too young to wear sunblock, and the bride just keeps insisting that the wedding is at 4:30 and the sun won't be that strong anymore.
Okay.
if this woman could like talk to God and be like, actually, I need.
Imagine going through all this for a couple that clearly is not fucking anymore. That part of the relationship is already done. People who have sex lives don't do this.
People who
You're
have
right.
sex don't do this because
They
they're
don't do this. They don't have
They're
time.
busy.
she's having very mediocre sex and she's like, I just want to get married, and that's what,
Yes.
especially in the time that it took for them to actually do this wedding. Her friend had like a kid, like
Yeah. Yes. Yes. It's so crazy. And, she said, like so she's bringing the newborn, and she's like, "We have to pack 200 ounces of formula for my daughter so she can eat there because we have to use ready to feed formula because we can't wash her bottles with the water in the area because it's not usable, like, it's not clean and it's not okay for drinking." So, I also had to buy a separate stroller, and the doctor suggested that she not go at all because of viruses and everything going around, and she'll be so small in a foreign country, and we can't take any medication.
Imagine having to have a doctor tell you that
Right?
this.
Yeah.
and still not doing it.
Yeah.
Also, like, what has this person done for her friend in return?
Right?
I want a
Honestly.
kidney.
Yeah.
Not even if I don't need it. I need you to cut it out and put it on ice in case I need it.
It's so much. It's so much. And that's the thing where like this is obviously a very extreme example, but I feel like when bridesmaids situations happen, that's how it goes. Like it starts off small and then it gets bigger. Like the ask just gets bigger and bigger and bigger until all of a sudden you're like, "Oh my god, all of my vacation time was for your wedding. All of my money, like any leisure money I had is now going towards your what
Yeah.
special day." And like, um, for me, once the baby was involved, I would just be like, "No, I'm so tired." And then this type of bride would be the first one I feel like when if she has kids, will be like, "Oh, I just can't do anything anymore. You don't understand what it's like to have a baby. I'm exhausted." And, like, I don't have kids, and I know that asking someone to travel with a newborn and just
It's not necessary.
no.
It's really not necessary, especially since they already had a wedding.
Yeah.
Like this is just a big ceremony for no reason at all.
Yeah.
These people sound terrible. They clearly are not people of color. They're not black. They don't know any black people. They don't know any people of color. They are
Alright, I
just
got my charger. I am ready.
Perfect.
these people should be drug out into the street and shot.
Okay, but I do honestly, I've never heard this with black or brown people.
No.
I asked Quinn that because he goes, "These people have gotta be white," and I was like, "Is that a thing?" I know it's a thing with white women brides, but are there any other, like, ethnicities of women that are very notoriously, like,
Yes,
demanding brides?
Arab women. This sounds racist now. You know, some of my people aren't that great. Um,
Same,
I will
same.
say okay, so I think it depends, but I noticed that like for in South Asian culture, like the wedding is when you like start your life. Mostly because I guess like all South Asian people are like, you don't have sex until you're married. Um, so I feel like for the South Asian weddings I've been to, they've been insane. Like,
Yes.
That makes sense.
yeah,
But
and
see
it's so wild, but I have never had we don't do bridesmaids. But I like because I think culturally that's not a thing. But I have heard stories of people being like, she was a fucking monster. And I'm like, yeah,
yeah.
I can see that. I can absolutely see that because it's such a big deal.
Yeah, I told Quinn, in some I feel like in other cultures where weddings are a huge deal, the difference is the whole family takes on, like, the burden of the wedding rather than, like, 4 friends that you went to college with.
Mhm.
So it's like, just, like, paying for everything and that kind of stuff is more of, like, it's the whole family is involved with this culturally versus, like, asking someone that you took, like, chemistry class with and you still sort of talk to, you're like, "Can you now give up all of your vacation time and come to"
It's a really big ass. Like, you're not gonna get black people to do that. Like, I had a destination wedding. When people couldn't make it, I was like, "Oh, okay, no problem." I have no problem with that. If I'm not gonna pay for you to go and you
Yeah,
Exactly.
tell me, "Oh, I don't have the money, I can't get off work." Okay, this is my relationship. This is my
yeah,
wedding. This is my stuff. Like, I don't even expect people to wish me happy anniversary. Why? It's not your relationship. What do you care?
Oh, it's
yeah.
like
I mean, thanks, but
like I'm saving money. Like I
yeah,
don't
like
need
that's
to.
fine. You
Yeah,
know what? I'll holler at you when I get back, mama. Fine. We'll get drinks. We'll go out to dinner or something.
yeah,
End of story.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. It
I,
is a weird thing.
have you
Go
guys
ahead.
ever said no to anyone who like asked, or I guess Katie, like, because again, none of my friends are gonna get married for another like 25 years.
So I I just told my boyfriend, I set my limit to this, like, event. I go, "I'm gonna only" I told them, "I've refused to spend any more than $400." And he goes, "What the fuck?" And I go, yeah, he goes I go, "No, but that's me setting boundaries. In the past, I would have bought everything to make all the favors. I would have made all the favors. I would have also thrown $400 and I would have also gotten a gift. I would have like I go, "This is me setting a boundary." 'Cause, like, historically, it's been like, "Yeah, I'll just that's what credit cards are for. Like, let's
Mm,
do it."
no.
And then
Not with eggs being the price of
Yeah,
espresso. No.
well, it is different too, I guess, like also, I think just, I think, like, I'll be curious, like, I do notice, um, when you are, like, 40 and you're doing it, some of the friends that you have, if their kids are not, like, little babies, the mom friends are like, "Let's fucking go." Like, "Let's have a weekend. I just want a girls' weekend. I wanna not be with my family. I wanna pretend that I'm, a wild 25-year-old again, and I have money now, and, like, I wanna do this." So, it is sometimes that's even Like it's more like people are like more into it because the mom friends are like, get me out of my house. But like if you catch people in that phase of their life where they're just figuring out how to parent and they're like
Well,
are
they're
broke and
just
they're
starting to
tired.
become resentful of their family. They
Exactly.
need to already be resentful.
Yes.
It's also so wild because this woman, when she has a baby, or like some sort of like something on the way, she's going to be
No.
the
She's gonna
baby
be insufferable.
and she's
Exactly.
And I'm gonna ask you this, Amamah, as a brown person.
yeah.
Does it really bother you when somebody has a baby and they act like they're the first person to ever do it?
It's okay. I don't want children, but when someone does have like a kid and they're like, and this is like the hardest thing, and I'm like, yeah, you've got to know that. Like people, you should have known.
Yes,
Relationships break up after babies. A lot of relationships don't last.
a lot. I watch people struggle.
I'm not the one who's going to be like up with a crying baby. Like I am just going to be like drunk at my house having a good time with no kids.
I watch people like in that couple who like struggles like to deal with one toddler
or
it's
one
like,
dog.
I'm like, what are you talking about? My parents have 4 kids at this age. What do you can't handle this one little asshole?
I know when a couple's going to break up.
Me too.
Kid, because it's like you guys can't even like agree on one little thing.
When
like,
you see the couple, it's always the couple that cannot manage a dog. And then they're like, you know what? Let's do a kid. Where you're like, the guy, like, why do you think that this husband who does not fucking walk the dog is gonna get up and change diapers and like do whatever fucking shit all through the day when they literally don't walk the dog? And they're like, yeah, let's add a kid to that. Like,
there was a Reddit thread that was like, I regret having a child. When I had baby fever, because I was like seeing someone, he like talks about kids, and I was like, I would have a kid for him. You know, I love it.
Yeah, you're like, I will do it.
Went on that Reddit, and I was just like, I will never have a child.
I was explaining it to my friends where I was like 87% of the time I feel very comfortable with not having children but then like there's 13% of like holidays I feel like, oh, that would be nice. And then you like go to your friends' homes where they have kids and I just am like, oh, like, I'll leave there being like, I think I'm on the spectrum because like that the sound in that house was just affecting me. The sounds were just like,
oh, you're just gonna have kids for the holiday. You could rent a kid.
That's what I was thinking.
Just
like back in the old days, you could go to an orphanage and take a child for Christmas night.
Come on,
and then take them back. Like that's the way to go.
The kid gets presents,
and then the kid takes the presents back to the orphanage, and I guess he has to fight to keep them. But you know that'll prepare them for the prison that the society is funneling them right into.
There you go. Perfect.
I don't know. Kids are cute. Like I have nieces and nephews. They're nice to play with for a limited time, and then you go home. Like that's the way it should be. Like I look at my sisters and even my brother for that matter, I'm like, you can't go anywhere.
It
like,
is crazy.
They always want you. They never leave. And like you can't even sit here and have this glass of wine with me. Because this little asshole is saying, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. And we look at them and then they just smile shyly. Get out of here.
I relate to that so much. I'm like, give me attention.
And it's like, exactly.
There was this like really hot guy I was talking to, and he had a daughter, and like he
red flag.
Hot, but I was like, you're gonna date models, not me. But his daughter was around. Like we were like talking on the phone, and I just kept hearing, "Daddy, Daddy, wait, look at me, Daddy, pay attention." And I wanted to be like, Daddy's talking to me right now.
He's my daddy right now. Between the hours of 8 p.m. Between the hours of 8 p.m. and 8 a.m., he's my daddy. Exactly.
I dated a guy with kids and ended up loving the kids. Like he was like, "Oh, is it the kids?" I go, "No, you are the problem. The kids are the reason this is lasting as long as it has." However, there was another guy that had a one daughter, and I don't know if it makes a difference if there's like if it's a daughter dad with no sibling thing,
Mm.
because it was the exact same thing. We were on the phone and she was just in the car. So like there's things for you to look at. Like and he literally was just it must have been a 30-second conversation, and he's like, "Blah, blah, blah," and she's like, "Daddy!" And she said it, like, nasty, like, she's like, "No!" And she was, like, 4 or 5, like, old enough where I was like, "You know what you're doing," and she was like, "Daddy, you talk to me." And I was like I had just broken up with that guy that had kids, and I'm like, "If they ever fucking talk to me like that, just in general, let alone like I'm like I spent years training those kids like I will give you attention when I am done in this conversation." And I'm like and he just goes, "Oh, I know. I'm sorry, sweetheart." And I was like, "Yours?" Like I literally I was like red flag, red flag, red flag, and I'm like this is not this
What a little
that is a kid I will not deal with. Like that.
I also
Ugh.
feel kids today are not disciplined enough, and I think that's because of my mother. I was raised by a mother had a who had experience and worked in a male dominated field, which is that of street crime. And my mother did not
She was a
play.
pioneer.
She did not be one of the first female gang members and leaders in Detroit in the 1970s. I was not allowed. There were some things I could not do as a child. Like there
Yeah.
was no talking back.
There was no
There was
demanding attention.
no demanding attention. There
Yeah.
was no speaking when my mother was speaking to another adult. Period. Like
Well,
I lived in a constant state of fear.
yeah, same. I think so far what I'm summing up is that white people have a lot of work that they need to do on themselves.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. I think we can agree on that. And I think this is a fine
That guy
time.
was white. That kid was so
This
white.
is the perfect time to point out that we here at the Messy Show are very proud supporters of Planned Parenthood and Roe versus Wade. Thank
Yes.
you. Please donate to Planned Parenthood.
Please donate to the Yellow Hammer Fund.
Damn, now I don't know if I could be a stepmom. Wait, so how did when that ended, were you like really
Oh, awful. Do you know what's so sad? I still think about them all the time. I really loved them. And I will say I have it in me to be a part-time parent. And I like the kids would be like, and they've like would be like, "You're like the nicest of all of our parents." And I was like, "Well, I'm actually the strictest with you guys." And they were like, "No, I know." And they're like, "But you just never yell and like, how do you do it?" And I was like, "Because you guys go home."
I'm
And
Mexican.
yeah, I go, I'm Mexican. But I was like, "You guys go home." And they were like, "Ha ha ha." I go, "No, you guys are super annoying." And they were like, "Ha ha ha." And I go, "No, you are." I go, "I love you
But I
guys
get a
so
break.
much. You're so annoying." And they were like, "You're crazy." And I go, "I'm being serious. You need so much attention. You're really messy." And like they were laughing. And I go, "And then every time I want to murder both of you, you go home. And then I rest for like a day or two. And then you come back and I'm ready." And they were like, "Oh."
That's the key to parenting.
It
Getting rid of those
is.
little crumb
Yeah,
snatchers.
take a little breather. Which I think, like, probably in families where the family helps, like Latino families, I remember
Abuela.
yes. And like in when we were living in Texas, my dad's family, which is the Mexican side, were around so much that like all the pictures of us as babies, it's like 18 different women just holding us at any given
All
point.
aunts.
Yeah, like they're just like Tia Gina, like they're just Tia Pati, like everybody's just got the babies. And so you don't feel like white families, I think it's just like just you and your baby and you're alone and you have like no one else to talk to. Like I remember I went to my friend's house and they were Puerto Rican and it was me and like my guy friend came with me and he was a white dude and when we walked out there and he goes, "Oh." I go, "Do you understand how Latinos have children?" And he goes, "Yeah, because you just don't change your life. Like you just still party, like and the kids just sleep
They
on
just
chairs."
there.
Yeah.
They come out and they dance
Yeah.
and entertain everybody, and then they go to sleep. Like, yeah,
Exactly.
that's what brown people do, I guess.
Yeah.
It's
Also, like
It's
in
great.
general, you're supposed to raise children in a community.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like
It takes a
I
village,
grew up
which
in a
I
Yeah.
think is an
neighborhood with
African proverb.
all Pakistani people. Like I think
Mhm.
most of the neighborhood was Pakistani. So like my mom, like when she went back to work, I had like 5 or 6 houses I could go to after school, and
Exactly.
they would just
Yes.
trade off. So like it was just like it's like a community. You're not supposed to have this individualism when
No.
raising a child.
But
No,
it
how could
happens
you?
it's like
Yeah.
that a lot. Like, I dated a guy who he did not his immediate family didn't speak to any of the rest of the family, and I've dated quite a few white people like that. And I'm like, "So wait, who throws the family reunion?" And he's like, "We don't have a family reunion. My dad hasn't talked to his sister or his brother in, like, 20 years." I'm like, "So wait, who cooks during the family get-togethers?" Like, I didn't
You're
understand
like, "Who does what?"
how does this work? And he's like, "No,
Yeah.
we just don't do that. Christmas is just us, holidays are just us." And I'm like,
That's boring.
"That's weird."
Yeah.
That's
Like, I
like
find it weird.
well, that's the thing, like, that's when I was like, because my eggs are, like, rotting as we speak, so I was like, "You have to, like, really think about this," and I was like, "We don't have" like, my dad's family is in Mexico, and so it's like, I would have to, like 'cause I just cannot imagine being a mom who is like, has no resource, like, without having, like, multiple other adults to be like, "You have to take this fucking like, you have to take this kid
Yeah.
away from us
And they
for
want
the"
to.
That's what I mean, yeah, like
Those are my fondest memories that I will,
yeah,
like, go with my aunts and stuff and, like, do stuff like that. I
yeah,
love doing that.
yeah.
I grew up with
Yeah.
like 25 cousins around me.
Exactly.
They're all older. Like I always was around someone that wasn't just
Yeah.
my parents. And I think
So many.
it's so weird though, because I do think like city kids grow up pretty fast because they just like you're 3 and then your mom puts you on the subway. She's
Yeah.
like, find your
That is
home.
that never, stops shocking me, like, you just see, like, children navigating a city by themselves, and you see kids the same age in a suburb who, like, can't wait at a bus stop by
And just
themselves.
like, "What? The bus didn't come. What do I do?"
Yeah, I'll die.
But it's like, yeah, like, I remember, like, so many cousins I had, like, cousins who, like, babysat us. I had a cousin who always sneaked boys over. Then there was a cousin who always fell asleep. Then I had a cousin who always cooked nasty food. There was always a different cousin to take care of
Yeah,
us,
yeah.
always.
I know I can't
Mm.
again, I also date a lot of people who like I guess they're white, so they
Yeah,
they're
uh-huh.
just like with their
In New
like
York, it's kinda hard not to, yeah.
especially Brooklyn. All these white people
Yep.
keep moving in, so I really have not
And I always tell people this, I talk about this, like, despite all the racism, white people are very gung ho to date and marry and fuck out of their race. It's crazy.
guys, I
Well,
have a
you
story.
heard that bride story? Okay, go ahead.
Last night, this is very fresh, but basically, I'm going through my own thing with like the move, and I was so hungry, and I was like, I want to go on a date, and this guy already went out. Was like, yeah,
Feed
I
me.
want to take you to dinner, and I was like, I have like my gas is turned off, time to go eat somewhere else for food. And he's white, and the first date he was very much like, oh my god, like I'm so liberal, ugh, all those things that
Oh,
Oh, that which is
man.
like a red flag, yeah.
yeah, and he kept talking about how he wasn't racist. Last night,
Mm.
Oh,
Red flag.
no.
horrible. But at one point, he was like talking about the Black Lives Matter movement, and he said something about riots, and I was like, "This is how I get rid of this dude." And actually, I think that like when a police station burned, or like when these things happen, and there's like buildings are burning, it's an appropriate response because like we should whatever I said, and I was like,
Yeah.
"He's gonna now leave," and he was like, "Wow." I'm learning so much from you.
And you're like,
You're
"Damn."
like, "I can't
Yeah.
get rid of him."
And I was like, all right, time for me to be racist. So he just I actually don't think that everyone should have rights. Here's this. And it was so wild where I was like, are you kidding? And then he did let it slip. He did say, he was like, yeah, like I went out with this Indian girl last week, and I was like, are you just
Mm.
dating brown girls?
Yeah, like, "What
Uh-huh.
are you doing?"
And he literally, like, when I said that as a joke, he was like, I prefer to. I was like, oh.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
No, I was like, oh,
White
that's
men
the white girls. I was like, we don't want you.
let me
We,
tell you, white men are crazy. I've had white men say some crazy shit to me, and casually too. So
yeah,
I can only imagine what women hear because I am a
It's a
big
lot.
black person that can hurt somebody. So, yeah, white men are,
My friend,
They'll
my,
stick that
like
pink winky wherever you let them.
they love yeah. My first friend in, college was Korean, and I remember we were, like, at a party, and I was just like, it's unbelievable how many times like this I've witnessed this happen with just, like, 1 semester of us being, like, tight friends, and, like, men would just come up to her and be like, "Oh my god, I love Oriental women," and she'd be like, "Rugs are Oriental, people are not," and they would just be like, "Oh,
Oh
like,
my
I
god.
was just like, "How much do you love them? Because you haven't learned how to talk to them."
They don't.
Like, what are you doing?
He's like, I love them. They never let me get close, but I love
Yeah,
them.
well, love to look, love to look.
Yeah,
I'd walk through a whole museum of them.
I think
What?
it's a red flag if a guy like I've had multiple dudes be like, I don't really date white women. And I'm like, well, you should. Those are your people, bro. You can put up right now with me. And it's a red flag for me where I'm like, why are you telling me this? Like, should I
Yeah.
give you a medal? Be like, oh my god, thank you so much for like wanting to fuck me. It's like, no,
Yeah.
no, no.
It's a very weird thing. It's a
It's
very weird thing.
bonkers.
It's like you have to find if you're gonna marry a white person, which I did. If you're gonna marry or find a white person to be with, you have to find one who also is attracted to other white people. That's a big one.
Yeah.
They can't be exclusively just into you. I mean, they can like a little bit of what you bring to them,
Mhm.
that's fine, but it can't be an exclusive thing. Like nobody should do that. And you have to they have to be willing to see that they're terrible. Like with the white men that I've dated, and I've dated more than a few, I've found that there's always a point where they'll say something like, "Oh, I see they casted this thing, no black people or anything like that. That's ridiculous." And then they'll be like, "I hate white people." And I'm like, "My work here is done." That's when I know I can move on now, ride off
You're
into
all
the
set. You're
sunset.
like, "I'm good."
Well, what's the Natty McPhee thing? When you don't want me here, I have to stay. But when you want me here, that's when I need to go.
Wow. No, I do want to. I like the black and brown dudes that I've dated. It's so easy because
They
it's
get it.
yeah, it's so easy, and then everyone just gets a white girlfriend. I'm like, I'll get a white boyfriend then.
You're like, "Fine."
But you have to keep in mind, like
Next to each side. Sorry.
white women, and I throw white bottoms into that. They throw themselves in men of color. I'm sorry, they do. They do.
I think it works both ways because I think white so my I look pretty white right now, I would say
Mm.
for sure. But growing up, I was way, way, way darker. My hair was way curlier. Like there was just more happening. And now I'm like, I don't see the sun. So like, but in the past, like I looked a certain way and literally my friend was like, guys are either like obsessed with you or they're just like, she's like, "There's no in the middle."
That is being a
Yeah.
color person.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
like, "They're just like, fucking what is that? I
White guys
want
are either that way
it."
or they're either
Yeah.
like, I don't see it or
Yeah.
I need to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, "Ooh, thick, dark,
Mhm.
creamy," or they're just like, "Oh, do you have a mustache?"
Yeah, is literally though it's still the same. It's like
It's
Yeah.
people in
extremes.
their 30s are either like, I want to try that, which is like a
Yes.
thing to try, or
Yeah.
or it's just like some guys are just like they're like, no, ew, gross.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
very it was very interesting growing up and I didn't like fully process it until later. But I mean, I've also processed it because literally in grocery stores, I think also growing up in upstate New York made it like more extreme where like we were the only Mexican family in our neighborhood and like it was like a thing where people were like, "Oh, you're Mexican? What's that like?" And I'm like, "Literally the same as it is for you. We just play mariachi music while we're mopping."
As my grandmother would say, and I don't condone this, white bitch with a taco. That's what my grandmother would say. My grandmother was incredibly anti anything that
Everything.
wasn't black. Like my grandmother's like, if you were not black, you were white. If
Yeah.
like and it's funny because like that's basically growing up in the South because she like grew up during like Jim Crow and all that stuff. She saw the
Well,
opportunities that
yeah.
non-black women got over black women. So to her, it was just like it didn't matter whether or not you were actually white. You have more rights than I
Yeah.
do, And so that's what she would school me on that all the time. We had growing up, my neighbors were Chaldean. And one day my grandmother came over and she was like talking to the grandmother who was visiting. And they were having like, a little old lady over the fence talk. And I was in there with my mom in the house, and my grandmother came in, and my mother was like, "Where were you?" And my grandma was like, "I was talking to the white lady next door." And I went up to my grandma and I was like, "Grandma," I was like, "She's not white. She's Chaldean." And my grandmother she got in my face and she was like, "Is she black?" And I was like, "No."
Your
And she
grandma's
was
the
like,
coolest.
"Then she white." I looked at my mother
You're
and my
like,
mother looked
okay.
away. I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, I've been schooled."
This goes back to, does your grandmother think that Dominican people count as black, or does she?
No. I dated a Dominican while my grandmother was still alive. She passed away. And she constantly called him Mexican. He was always Mexican. It was so weird. Like, she just was it was Italian.
Yeah.
Like, she was
a purist.
She was very prejudiced. But
My friend growing up, my friend in like my 20s, he was from, his mom was from Colombia, and we
I
know
love Colombia.
his mom was from Colombia and his dad was from Spain, and his mom was very racist against any other like type of Latino person. And she would just be like I remember that she was Colombian because she'd always be like, Shakira is Colombian. Like,
She is. She is.
She thought like every other brown type of person was trash. Like she like
Unless you're
had
cocaine. Yeah.
she had like a ranking system.
I think that's like in every culture, because I feel like white people did something great where they were like divide and conquer, and boy, like it's so easy for like Indian and Pakistani people to be like, we hate each other. I'm like, guys, we were in the same country.
Yeah. You're like, we're so close.
I'm not proud of it, but I don't particularly like British black people. I'll say it.
Why?
Black Brits. I don't respect it. I don't respect them. I don't like them coming over here taking our jobs. I'll say it.
And they're just so hot with those accents.
John Boyega is the only one. Everybody else can go home.
So hot. I would.
Cynthia Riva, go home. I just think the African Americans are the best.
That's okay. Today I said I think people from the South are dumb.
Which included a lot of my family.
It's a prejudice. I'm from Texas, so I grew up speaking with a twang, so I don't know. And I can get right back into that twang.
She called a lot of my family stupid today, and I let it roll off my back. Like, I can't. I mean, they are kind of dumb.
You're like, okay. Crazy white lady.
And you have to keep in mind, like, if you go back, the white and black people I'm related to down there, because it's both.
But I was like, we were just like talking about prejudice people have, and I'm like, I know, growing up, I really was like, oh, people in the South, I think are just stupid. And then you like actually meet people from other areas, and you're like, oh, you are stupid.
You're just meeting stupid people, Katie.
That's also true. That's also true.
I know.
I think this is just about you meeting people.
This is about who you hang out with.
You were like, everyone around is racist. I don't know what's up with
It's crazy.
Meanwhile, cut to how Katie meets people drunk in bars. So
well, that's what I'm like, we're all down.
Yeah. No, but it is funny how like even within America, like the South thinks Southern people I meet think Northerners are like assholes, which like maybe they're not wrong. But we grew up like in the North thinking people in the South were stupid, and like California people are like flaky. Like, so even within our own country, we can't even get it together.
I mean, there's truth in all of those.
Well,
New Yorkers are rude.
What are you gonna do?
New Yorkers are rude, but we're also like rude and nice. Like I had my backpack zipper open on the subway, and this woman like yelled at me, and she was just like, your zipper is open. You want to get things stolen? And I was like, absolutely not. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You could have said it to be nicer, but thank you anyway.
I had a man go, hey, lady.
You being a dumbass.
Yeah. He goes, hey, lady, your whole ass is hanging out of that dress. And I was like, is it? And he's like, so bad. And I was like, oh, thank you so much. He goes, I just thought you should know. On the stairs, full ass. He's like, it's nice and everything, but it's the full ass. And I was like, okay, thank you.
I don't think it's the look you were going for.
Yeah. And I was like,
oh my God, that's
He went
hilarious.
to club that night and he was like, full ass.
full ass. And I like could feel it. I'm like, that is the full ass.
Okay, that's funny.
Okay, I know we took a turn. I have to tell you guys one funny quick story that someone wrote in about a wedding.
Okay.
And this is not about a crazy bride. This is not, it's not about a crazy bride. It's about a crazy bridesmaid. And someone wrote in, my friend was a bridesmaid in a wedding and she brought a first date from Tinder to the wedding. The bridesmaid and her date got into huge fights all night as if they'd been dating for years.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's what I said. Basically, he wanted to dance with her and she acted like she didn't know him. He kept buying us all shots, trying to impress her, and then she would just be like, "You're so embarrassing." And then the dude was a car salesman and he kept trying to sell us all cars. And then he added all of the dudes from the wedding on Facebook and he just kept posting them being like, I met some true friends tonight. And then she said the wedding was a 5-hour drive from where they live. So basically they just met and hopped in the car.
Oh my God. It's like a Wedding Crashers
Yes,
sequel.
I know.
I have so many questions. Also, I love that type of drama. I would be around those two all night.
Me too.
I would want to know every single detail. That's insane. I cannot. I hate spending time with people. I cannot imagine doing that with someone I just met. That's wild.
I went to a wedding. Me and my husband went to a wedding once, and it was somebody else's wedding, and we went with this other couple who he was friends with, and it was this stay-at-home mom and her cop husband, and they argued and bickered the entire time, like to the point where we literally were entertained because like we drove with them, and we were like in the back seat like dying every time they argued about something, and it got so bad during the course of the night as they drank. And like I was like joking, I was like, "This has been great." I was like, "He's a cop. You think he might shoot her?" It was like so bad, but it was so entertaining. So I love that too.
Yeah,
you know when he like, as cops do, beat her up later.
Oh
yeah, he's like, she's gonna get it.
I gotta tell you, from what I saw, I wouldn't be able to prosecute him that day. In the past, I don't know, but that day, she was on his neck. I was like, why is she talking to him like that?
Okay, Josh and I have a joke about a person that I didn't even meet for a long time because his friend has a wife, so like the chances of this whatever her listening to it whatever. The friend has a wife and Josh and his friends were helping them move. And the wife, I guess, was not helping at all with the moving of things. And at one point, Josh said to his friends, he's like, where do you want to put this shit? And I guess the wife was like, this is not shit. These are our things. And so to this day, Josh and I will say that as a joke. Like, if something happens, I'll be like, those are our things. And he's like, I wanted to run her over with that truck. Like, he's like, we were carrying all of her things all day. She didn't have to do shit.
That sounds just like Josh.
I know, he was really.
That's so Josh.
The woman from the first story, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's what I picture.
It reminds me of like that old movie with like Tom Hanks and Shelley Long. What is it, The Money Pit?
Yes.
Where they get into that huge fight and he's like, you never loved this house, you never wanted it. And then she like pauses, she gets so dramatic. I love this house. And she hates that house.
Yes, that's
what's giving me like fragile white woman. Calm down.
These are our things.
These are our things.
And I'm like, that's so crazy because I remember moving once and I had a box of like glasses, like actual glasses. And I don't know, I think this was like an ADHD thing. I just got in the momentum of tossing my own boxes and my friend goes, Katie, and it was like slow motion. He goes, no, and I tossed it and I felt a gentle toss. My friend was like, you fucking hurled it into the truck, and as it hit the truck, all you hear is like shatter, shatter, shatter.
Oh.
I was like, I don't know why I just did that.
I don't care if you have to take a little bit, include it in escrow, take it from escrow. Moving company is included in moving.
Now, yes.
I will never ask anybody to help me move because I don't
literally,
ever want anybody to ask me ever again.
yeah, I got movers today.
I was gonna say, Amamah, you're moving. How do you feel?
I honestly, my back hurts so much. I got movers today, and I did have like a few things that were like heavier that they were like going to charge an insane amount for. And then the guys on I had like friends with the entire neighborhood, so like multiple men were here right before this, and they just took everything down. And I was like, I'm gonna go buy them a beer at the bar. Like,
there you go.
I think that's okay. I think that's okay.
Yeah, but I hired movers. I was like, I live up on. This is a 4th floor walk up, no elevator. There's no way that I was gonna be like, yeah, guys, let's move me to another apartment. Like, it's insane. I just paid a bunch of like dudes and
because I've moved into a 3rd floor walk up. I wanted to die.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't want to move groceries into that.
Oh god, that was hard too.
My new place is only it's on the 2nd floor, and it's the first time that I've lived in New York where I'm not on the 4th floor.
Oh my god.
I am.
Congratulations.
I'm on the 2nd floor, thank God.
That's great. All right.
I'm too old fat for that.
Same. I was going to say another moving strategy, it probably costs the same as movers, is you just sign up for a CrossFit gym 10 months before you have to move. And then you casually mention that you're moving, and everybody from your gym will help you move for free.
But then you'll have to take pictures of them doing
you
it.
Definitely you have to do that. But I think it's worth it.
If you don't take pictures of CrossFit, it didn't happen.
Man, I don't have the exercise or the capability to do CrossFit, so I was like, let me pay people.
I was there for 3 days, and they tried to make me stand on my head. I was like, you people are fucking smoking something.
I can't even date someone. I know, Katie, you've done like CrossFit. I think women who do it are cool. I think men who do it are really intense.
Josh is like, when we met, he was at a different CrossFit gym, and I've never met a CrossFitter who hates CrossFitters more than Josh.
Me? I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm out of here. I'm not paying this much money to be around these douchebags.
I'm like, did you make friends with anyone? He's like, no. He's like, I hate people who do CrossFit. I'm like, you do CrossFit. He goes, I just hate people that do CrossFit.
I will say, but like toe to toe, I do think that Katie could beat me wrestling.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
Still.
In my prime, pre stand up.
Stand and put weight on
universe, the universe makes everybody equal. So like, as I get funnier, I get uglier every year. I get uglier and weaker.
Oh God.
I don't think that's true. I think it's as you get just, once you get that money from stand up and everything else, then you can.
Then you get it
there
back.
You go. Yes, that's true.
Because I've gotten funnier and my sex appeal hasn't gone anywhere.
All right, relax.
Just
saying.
Amamah, why don't you tell the people where they can find you? Tell the white men where they can find you if they want to take you out.
If you are white and you want to take me out, no, because
we're on a hiatus.
Yourself first, okay? I'm not here to teach you about my religion. You can find me though on Instagram at Amamah Sardar.
Perfect. And we'll put the link for that in the show notes. And you guys, if you have any messy stories, please email them to us, messyshowpod@gmail.com. You can also DM us on all the socials at messyshowpod and our personal socials. We can read any story anonymously, and we want to hear. If you are a bridezilla, I want to hear about it. And I want to hear your side. And if not, share some horrible wedding stories of your own. If you crashed a wedding, if you had a crazy Tinder date, let us know. We love any mess. We want to bless your mess, you guys. I can't believe I just said that.
You did.
That came out. All right. We got to go. Have a great week.
See ya.
Bye-bye.